you doing? Let me just put this over here for a second. I wanted to just kind of say hello. I know I've been missing for a little bit. We had a lot going on last week. So exciting. It really was. Watching my child graduate and go through all of that. And so now I'm ready to catch up about Lori Vallow and her trial. Looking forward to watching it. I know a lot of people are. It's going to be a very different trial than what we've seen. And I tell you, the funniest thing is watching her try to get the judge to recuse himself. It is the craziest thing I've ever seen. But we know how she is. She, again, being the exalted being that she is, and having done no wrong and seeing herself as perfect and that she's never done wrong. It's all of us, not her. Well, you know how it goes. That's how she is. But anyway, so we'll just sit here a minute or so, let y'all come in or whatever, and I'm going to start. I need to do a little bit of reading from something else that I have found about this trial and all the things that are going on, and about there's so many different little kids that are missing and how sad that really is. It really is. I worry about all of them and the misinformation that's being put out there. Every other day we're seeing things like, Lily and Jack are deceased or unalive. I mean, all of that. It's just got to stop. I mean, you can clearly go over to the Royal Canadian RCMP, I think it is RCMP, and actually look up every day to see what is new about the case and what is not new about the case. The information is right there. So before we start saying things that other people are saying, I suggest that we do that instead. So there you go. That's that. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. The other thing I wanted to talk about is poor Sebastian's case and what's going on with it, and how I understand that Ellie not wanting to turn it over, but I really do think it's time they turn it over. I really do. There seems to be just like some kind of stop in the case, something that's going on that's just stopping it from going anywhere. It's like at a dead standstill, and that's really sad. I don't want it to turn into a cold case like some of the other ones. I just don't want that. I do worry about that. But anyway, so now we also talked about not too long ago the 404B and the prosecutors were going to bring that in. Well, then now they've decided not to bring it in, which I don't know why they did that, but okay, now they're not going to bring it in. So all the paperwork about it is kind of not important at this point now because they decided not to bring it in, and that's okay too. That's fine. So anyway, I wanted to, I always experiment a little bit with trying to share the screen because I don't do very well at it, but I'm going to work on that today. Again, if I get disconnected, I get disconnected. If I don't, I don't. It's okay. It's really okay. So, I'm glad I was able to start on time today. I always really have. I've decided to just keep StreamYard. I'm not going to try the rest of them because they just don't. They don't all. StreamYard's a little expensive, but it offers things that some of the other ones don't offer. It's kind of sometimes a little bit hard to use, but it's okay. It's really okay. But anyway. So, let me see what else I wanted to talk about for just a moment before I show this other. I'm gonna credit Nate Eaton. I always love to show his things. He's the East Idaho News just has Lori Vallow down. They know everything that's going on at the time that's going on, and I enjoy his content. So I'm going to share some of his content today. I think I'm going to try to share some of the content from Hidden True Crime because they also have really good content on Lori Vallow, which, if you're going to share content, it needs to be from a reputable YouTube creator that is always honest with us and always has the up-to-date information, not old information that's not important. So, okay, now the dog is going to bark. Oh, stop barking. Sorry. I'm going to turn this off for just a second so the dog will stop barking. Okay, hang on, just 1 minute. Okay, guys, sorry. I'm trying to get the dog to stop barking, but every time somebody walks down the road, the dog barks as if if it's coming to our house. It's not coming to our house. It's just somebody walking down the road, trying to take a little daily stroll. But anyway, you know how that goes. When you have dogs, they're going to bark. They're dogs. They can't help them silly selves. But Jack, what happens is the old dog will start barking first. Once the old dog starts barking, then the young dog starts barking, and it just becomes an issue. So I don't know how to if I can make the old dog stop barking first, we would not have all this barking. So anyway, okay. So if you're out there, come on in. We're ready to go. I'll just try to mute it whenever the dog starts that barking. We'll just mute them and we'll just keep going. It's okay. So I'm going to start by I'm going to start by letting East Idaho News. I'm going to share their screen for just a moment. We'll start by listening to what he has to say about it. So come on in. So anyway, oh God, why? They're perfectly quiet until I get on here, and then it starts this whole thing with him trying to bark and trying to bark and trying to bark. It'll drive you crazy. Stop. Let me see if I can get them to stop first. I'm so glad graduation was over. It was a little bit stressful because we had a lot of family, but it was also fun. I enjoyed spending time with my family. I enjoyed everybody being here. We did a big barbecue thing. It was nice. But yeah. Okay, y'all done barking? I think they're done barking now. We'll see. We'll see if they're done barking. You done barking? All right. I need a drink of water, and then I'll go ahead and show this clip that I want to show, and then we'll kind of start talking about it. I mean, anyway, so without further ado, let's go over here and bring in East Idaho News and talk about it for a minute. So I just love watching him. So hang on. Y'all just give me a moment here. Wish me luck that it's going to work right today. All right. Share the screen. And we're going over here. I'm going to share. Hang on a minute. Let me get this smaller. Okay. There we are. Yay. Okay, so let me get this going. See, I can hear. I got to start it back over, but hang on just a second. I'm starting back over. Okay. There. Oh, come on, go. Let me get restarted.
My other one.
There we are.
Is
Hey, y'all, let me share the screen. Yay.
Okay.
We'll listen in for just a minute.
Give me 1 minute here.
Very interesting.
Downtown Phoenix. Okay, Ellen, thank you. Glad you can hear me. Hope everybody's having a good morning. What is today? Thursday? We have the weekend just around the corner. Okay, good. We have people watching. I wanted to come on and give you a little update. There was a last-minute hearing scheduled, held this morning in Lori Vallow Daybell's case before Judge Jennifer Green. She's the criminal presiding judge. And the reason she held the hearing and not Judge Boreski is because the topic of the hearing was about Judge Boreski. You recall we've talked about this on Courtroom Insider, that Lori Vallow has filed a motion to have Judge Boreski removed from the case, saying that he is impartial, that he's not fair, listed several other reasons why she felt he should be removed. And so another judge needed to hear her out this morning. And this was kind of a last minute hearing. To be honest with you, I didn't hear about it till 9:28, and it started at 9:30. So I rushed down here and I missed it. It was short, but I do have video. The court records these hearings on video. So I've asked for that video, and I'll share that with you once I get it. But the judge denied it. She said that Judge Boreski will remain on the case, that he has been fair, that he has not violated any rules or anything like that. And so he remains on the case. So that means that this afternoon here at, just about 2-3 hours, jury selection will begin in the case, in the trial. And today we're not expecting, I don't want to say we're not expecting much, but it should be a relatively short hearing, I believe. They're going to go through the electronic questionnaires that have come in from potential jurors. They'll remove some if they have conflicts or if they have issues. And then whoever's left at the end of the hour or two will then be brought in tomorrow to have in-person questioning. So we should have a jury tomorrow afternoon. And then the trial begins on Monday. And if you're just tuning in, wondering what the news is, a judge has ruled that Judge Justin Boreski can remain on the Lori Vallow Daybell case. The judge
All right, so see, she tried it, but of course it didn't work, and so I'm really excited about the trial starting next week. I can't wait to see how she's going to defend herself on this because, well, we all know she's guilty, but we all know she thinks she's not guilty. Of course she does. So I'm glad my sharing the screen really worked today, and I'm so glad that East Idaho News was there to catch that for us. I appreciate that. And I don't know who's going to do the live streaming of this case next week. I mean, I can't live stream all day, and I'm not going to because it's really our friends who cover true crime. That's really their gig, and I really want them to do it. But I don't mind coming on and talking about it a little bit. It's a fascinating case, and when you look at Lori Vallow and the whole situation, and the fact that she still maintains that she believes that what she did was justified under the Church of the Firstborn, which I know it's hard to understand for all of us, and it always will be hard for us to understand. And we know that she's basically a Looney Tune, well, I mean, I shouldn't say Looney Tune, but I mean, in her belief system, whatever that is, that we cannot even, we can't understand it because we're not in her messed up mind. Anyway, so another person that I like to listen to, and whenever we talk about Lori Vallow, is Colby Ryan. Now, he understands his mother more than any of us do. He always will. And for that, I like to go listen to him and get his take on it. He and I agree a lot about a lot of things in this case. And, I don't know how he's managed to overcome all he's overcome, with that being his mother and what she did to his brother and sister. It's just got to be so hard every single day because, well, I mean, that is still his mother. No matter what horrific thing she's done, that's still his mother, which is sad. But, there's a lot of those kids out there who've dealt with this. I mean, Harley Hunt, that's another one. Letitia is still her mother, but, she has managed to overcome and do well for herself, even though that her mother is who she is. Now, I understand that little Harley Hunt does not have anything to do with her mother. She's walked away from it. I know that's hard too, because she knows her mother's over here and she's still doing all this stuff. And she's never going to admit to what really happened. But Harley's over here trying to live her life. And everywhere she goes, people know who Harley Hunt is. And that's got to be hard for her. It's got to be hard for her. So, hey, Ann, how you doing? Good to see you. Glad you came in. You haven't missed much. I was just kind of showing the clip from, I managed to show the clip without cutting myself off today. Funny, huh? I'm talking about Lori Vallow and her pre-trial, and the last thing she tried to do was recuse the judge, which was kind of fascinating, right? I mean, and her craziness. But anyway, we're just talking about these kids that come out of these situations where their parents are horrific, have done the worst crimes ever, and how these children still have to live over here in this world and try to make something of themselves, knowing that is their background, is these parents over here who have done this. And how hard it is for them. Yeah. Have you heard anything about the kids in Canada? Yes, I have. I was going to talk to y'all about that too. So let me pull this back up because this was this morning when I pulled this up. It's brand new. Well, it was new this morning when I pulled it up. Let me get this for you. Okay, so all this talk about them saying that they found bodies and all that was not reported on on anything today so far. Hang on a second. Let me let this person alone now. Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to read y'all what I have pulled out of that today so far from the RCM, which is, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Yay, I think I said it right this time. Here we go. Let's see. Here we go. All right. Now I'm going to go up here to this. And it's Jack and Lily. Let's go back to the latest thing they have. I'm going to read you the latest thing they've let us know about, which was on May 28th. Investigations into disappearance of Lily and Jack. This is from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and it is off of their website, so it's fresh. It says, it continues, the RCMP is appealing based on the details we've gathered so far. We've confirmed that Lily and Jack were observed in public with family members on the afternoon of that was, what is the date here? Let's go. Let me pull up the whole thing. So based on the details we've gathered so far, we've confirmed that Lily and Jack were observed in the public with family members on the afternoon of May the 1st. Sandy Matthew, which is a corporal there. Northeast Nova RCMP Major Crime Unit. We're now asking anyone who has dash cam footage or video along Garlock's Road between 12 p.m. and on from April 28th through May the 2nd to contact them. Investigators remain committed to exploring all possibilities surrounding the children's disappearance. To date, more than 355 tips have been received and are being followed up on. The RCMP officers have also formally interviewed over 50 people, with more interviews planned in the coming days. Investigative work is going on following a large-scale ground and air search that began immediately after the children were reported missing on May the 2nd. Hundreds of searchers, multiple dogs, a variety of drones, and underwater recovery teams and several aircraft have scoured a heavily wooded 5.5 square kilometers before search efforts were scaled back on May the 7th. Additional searches took place on May the 8th, May the 9th, May the 17th, and May the 18th. Any future searches will be determined based on the course of the investigation. RCMP officers from various teams are fully engaged in finding out what happened to Lily and Jack, and we're using all tools and resources to determine the circumstances of their disappearance. I wish these things would stop popping up. However, as this is an active investigation, we are unable to discuss the details of the ongoing work. Anyone with information about the whereabouts of Lily and Jack or who have video footage to share with police is asked to call the Northeast Nova RCMP Major Crime Unit at 902-896-5060. To remain anonymous, contact Nova Scotia Crime Stoppers toll-free at 1-800-222-TIPS, which is 8477. And to submit a secure tip, go to their website, which is www.crimestoppers.ns.ca, and use the P3 Tips app. So that was from May the 28th. So there's nothing new on their website about anything else that's come up. So that's all there is. I know we're seeing all kinds of reports about other things going on, but none of it's true, because if it was true, it would be on the RCMP website. They would be letting people know that they have something else, as far as I know, because I wanted to go directly to the source and not be giving misinformation and not telling things because, I saw it here, there, or wherever. I just don't think that's fair to the children and the family and everybody else involved in it. So anyway, I hope that answers that. Anyway, so I'm going to pull something back up real quick. Hang on just a second. Let me look at this too for just a second. Here we go. Let's see if they put anything else on this other part of their site. Hang on one moment. There's a whole bunch of these missing people listed on their website. And you can just, okay, let me see what else it says over here. I really wish they would find those babies. It's so sad. I don't understand it, really. Where could they go? Okay, now, Hang on a second. No, that's something else. Never mind. Yeah. May the 28th is the last thing I see on the babies. Okay. And the only other new thing I see on the RCMP is about hate crimes, but that has nothing to do with Lily and Jack. So that's that. So anyway, good to see you. You found one that said that there were found and that they were, and oh, really? See, I don't know where that's coming from because when you pull it up on the actual Canadian mounted police website, it doesn't say anything about that at all. But let me go over here. Let me see if there's anything else out there that's on, like maybe, here we go. Let's see. See if I put anything over here, what I can find out over here. I don't want to look on YouTube because we know YouTube has a lot of misinformation, just like TikTok does. And I don't want to be spreading misinformation. It does not help anybody involved. So anyway, hang on, let's go over here. Okay. Here's a National Post from one day ago. Let's see what the National Post says. It's the same thing about the 355 tips. It's the exact same. It's what I just read to you. So let me see about this next one. 1 day ago, missing. 1 day ago. There's a lot of things that are from 1 day ago. So, yeah. Everything else is like, your YouTube or your TikTok and that kind of thing. You send it to Lady Freedom. Let's see. Get down, girl. Let's see. I'm gonna make sure she looks at that. Okay, so I was just talking to her, so let me make sure she looks at that. That's 6 days ago. Anyway, yeah, we'll let her cover that. But anyway, I just don't see anything new. I don't see anything that says that they found, unalived, that kind of thing. So anyway, are you looking forward to Lori Vallow's trial starting next week? I'm so excited about it. I really am. It's going to be really good. I'm going to watch everything. I don't know who's going to stream it. I think maybe it might be the Ward Case Studies or one of those people. So I hope so, because I really like her. If you've not went over to the Ward Case Studies, you should. Jen Lou is really good. She's been doing true crime for a long time, and she's quick. She knows exactly what's going on, and if you don't understand something that's going on in the court, she can help you with that. Now, another good one for true crime is Alex Erickson, because Jen Lou and Alex Erickson both. Of course, Lady Freedom. Hey, Rachel, good to see you. Good to see you. So glad you came in. You're only a little bit tardy, but I don't care. I like for y'all to come in whenever you want to. Just joking with you, Rachel. It's okay. Those two have been doing true crime for a long time. Like Freedom's good. There's a lot of good creators out there, but I know that Alex Erickson and the Ward Case Studies don't really get involved with things like Sebastian's case or some of these other cases, because they are really talking about cases that have already been settled and bringing us all the content that we did not see because in the courtroom, because they were not able to see. So they're good about getting all the documents after the fact and bringing us parts that we missed, things that we did not get to see. So that's very interesting. I know there's a lot of talk going on right now about many different aspects of Sebastian's case. It's just really heartbreaking. I don't know why it's at a standstill. It should not be at a standstill. I just wished it wasn't like this. But there's just not a whole lot we can. There's not a whole lot we can say or do about it, because we're just, other than, Smiley is talking about writing letters and sending emails and that kind of thing. I think it's a great idea. I really like Smiley's approach to this. I think she's honest and fair, and she really does care. So if you want to get involved, I think that's the best place to get involved at, So also, I was talking about in the beginning of this when y'all weren't here yet. So in Lori Vallow's case, the prosecutor said, they were going to file the 404B and bring in the old information. Well, then they decided, even after it was granted, they're not going to use it now. They're not going to use the old information. So I got all these documents that I thought, it'd be fun to read them all, do all that. But now that they're not going to use them, it's kind of like, it's almost like, what's the point, I need to find a different direction for my little show to go as we talk about these people. So I am I'm trying to get a copy of another book that Chad wrote, and it's the children's books that they wrote, because I want to talk about his influence on children with this horrific belief system that he preached to his own children about the Church of the Firstborn. So y'all just have to hold on with me for that while I get my hands on this book, because one of the things I've discovered about these books are they're hard to come by. Some of them are really old, and since he's in prison, they're really, I don't think that the publishing company is really in business anymore, because you can't just go and order the book from them, which makes it difficult. So I'm trying to get my hands on these books. I've looked on Amazon. I've looked in some of these bookstores that sell used books, and I have not found one yet. So I think I'm going to have to resort to going to eBay to get this older book that I want to read about and use about Chad Daybell and his false propheting and the Church of the Firstborn, which we all know is complete BS. And if you've gotten a chance to go watch Colby Ryan talk about that, he and I are on the same path about Chad making it work with whatever he wrote in there for him to justify what he was doing. But anyway, so glad to see you all. Did you all have a great weekend? I know I've been gone a long time, and I know that's really not good when you're trying to be a creator, but I just had to get through the family thing and all that. But it was good. I'm so glad it was good. I'm glad my child is ready to go on to his next steps. So anyway, I want to show y'all something. I want to go over here and get this other. See, I've kind of managed to learn how to sort of be able to share my screen a little bit without turning myself completely off. So if y'all just bear with me for a moment, I'm going to share the screen back on YouTube, but we're going to talk about Hidden True Crimes latest on Lori Vallow and her mess. Okay, so don't turn off. Just stay right there. Hang on just a second, guys. So what we have to do is we have to go to here and go. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Hang on. All right, I'm going to move this over here. Okay, so hang on. Okay, there we both are. But I want to move on to Hidden True Crime. So I have to get up here and move this over here. All right, just a second. Hold on, just a second. Let me get this
during this trial, what her defense is and what she decides to do.
Do that. Okay.
As that trial approaches, I gotta tell you, it is hot.
And this
I'm not used to this. When I left Idaho
when he showed up to go to the hearing, and he was already too late because
beautiful.
It's such a short hearing. So
and
I'll let you listen to this
like
for just
195 degrees and hot, but that's okay. I admire all of you who can stand the heat. I did go on a run this morning, and it was beautiful and nice. So we'll be back this afternoon. I hope. Let me know if you have any questions as I'm watching. I'm glad the sound is good. Someone says, and it's cloudy. This is cool. As I said, this morning was beautiful, but man, it's warming up for me. I know it's only going to get hotter. I wouldn't mind living here in the winter, but I don't know if I could handle the summers. Do a backflip. Oh, you're funny. I'm no Benson Boone. I'm just reading through your comments here. Just want to say hi. So now I was in my hotel working on some stuff for the trial.
Hang on just a second.
When actually one of our very kind viewers messaged me and said, hey, there's a hearing happening. And I'm like, what? And I confirmed. I'm like, oh, shoot. So I ran out to the car. I'm staying about 15 minutes away. Drove down here. And I tell you, the second I parked, I got a call from the court media person. And he's like, hey, it's over. I'm like, oh.
How unfair.
So what should I do now? I have plenty to do. I have a lot to do, by the way. So I'm going to go continue what I was doing before. The question is, do I go back to the hotel, which is 15 minutes? I probably will. And then I'll be back here this afternoon and getting ready for this.
I could get this other story to come up. Y'all just hang on a second.
Love to see when is actual. The trial starts on Monday. Actual trial opening statements will be on Monday.
Whoops.
And
hang on, guys, just a second. I want to get this over here to pick up this other one, but I got to move it over some. Don't do that here. I'm still here. Don't go away anywhere. I just have to change this off of there. So I'm going to remove that. And I wanted to get this other one to pull back up about when she was complaining about why she wanted to recuse the judge. So Just bear with me for a second, okay, guys? I think I'm going to try it. Let's split the screen and see if we can make this work right for just a second. So here I am. I know you can see me, right? And here, this is over here. No, don't do that. Hang on. Here we go. Let's get YouTube. And hey, make sure you can still see me, okay, guys? I don't want to mess up today. I really thought, I think I've got this. I think I've got this. But anyway, so let's go back over here to just YouTube. Okay, and we'll get this other one pulled back up. I mean, it is crazy, all the different, no, that's not the one I want. Here, let's just go to YouTube normal. No, I don't want to show you that. I made a little funny last night, but the sad thing is it got removed from TikTok because it kind of was a little bit ugly towards a certain person that I consider to be a huge grifter and is always on there doing this mess, and it makes me so angry. So I put it on there, and I made a little comment about run as fast as you can because their big tooth is going to get you, you know. and it kind of was like, that's a little ugly, and we're not going to let you put that up there. And I was like, okay. So they removed it, but it was funny. If you got to see it, all right. If you didn't, okay. It was funny though. Okay, so let me go over here and get this. I want to get Lori Daybell. Hang on a second. Oh Lord, it's a little bit hot over here today. Yesterday, oh my God, it stormed so bad. We had hail, 3-inch size hail balls. We had rain like crazy, and we had our own personal waterfall coming off the back of our hill over here. It was crazy, just crazy how much rain we had. I could not believe it. So here we go. Here we go. Where is it? Let me see if I want to pull up Colby's. I want it to pull up Colby's as well. I haven't quite learned how to pull up these things and just leave them stacked over here for me to just pull up anytime y'all want to look at them yet. But I'm working on it. So, so I don't know if y'all remember this or not, but here we go. Which one? Oh, I'm going to read glass. I pick the date out here for Colby's. Now this is. I'm going to play Colby's reaction to his mother's interview. You remember that day? Let's play a little bit of this, and then we're going to go back and talk about the verdict and all that kind of stuff. So hang on just a second, guys. Let me get that pulled up, and let's share the screen. Hang on. Woo! Now, hang on just a second. Present. I don't know if y'all can see that yet or anyway, but come on. Oh, crap, you got to stop sharing. You got to add the damn screen. I know, I'm just not very good at this, but we'll get there. We will get there. Share the screen with, share. I know. Let's see. Here it is. Let me get this right here. Okay. Let's see, because I can see Colby over there, but y'all can't see Colby over there, which sucks. So here we go. We'll just get him pulled up this way because I don't think you can share. I don't think you can do split screen and do this. So I have to get him over here. But I just feel so sorry for him. I don't know how Colby has managed all of this. It's got to be so hard on him, knowing that is his mother. I mean, think about it. Put yourself in his position. How does he manage every day to just, here's this. Okay. Here we go. Put that right there. I'm going to unsplit this. All right. Now, here we go. Oop, don't do that. All right. I can see it's the wrong one. Y'all just okay. Okay. I got to get this one off of there and get the other one on. Damn it. Stop sharing that screen. Let me get the other one back on here. Crazy me. Oops. See, I want to use this one right here, but I know you can't see that. Okay. Share the screen. Someday I'll get this. I promise. Someday I will get this. Here we go. All right. Here we are. All right. So now this is Colby's reaction to his mother's interview she did after the trial. Okay. So he calls it the Scar Wars post. I really do admire him a lot. I do. He's just been to hell and back. I mean, because when you think about That's his little brother and sister. And he has had to watch and hear all of this. It's in his face, you know. He has to relive this every time there's a trial, every time somebody wants to talk about this. So I'll let y'all listen. So I think you can probably see him, but can if you can hear him, go to number one because I think I can turn it off and talk to you for a minute and then turn it back on. But I'm not real sure. So hang on.
I hope it's live. Okay, well, it is good to see you. Um, man, this
Okay, hang on just a second. Oh, why is it going trouble? There you go. Okay, stop. Okay, now. Whoops. I know it's hard. It's kind of a mess, isn't it? Hey, hang on a second. Okay. I need to make that bigger, but I don't want to. I don't want to mess it up, guys. Just listen, okay? Sorry. Oh, okay.
Hi, specifically, because that is crazy. All right, so tonight
No.
we're gonna jump in to some deeper thoughts. So after
Why? I wonder why it's making that double noise. I don't really like that. Let me see if I can fix that, okay?
I want to move on. What happened? Hello, everybody.
Oh, no.
The state's pretrial.
Hang on, guys. Hang on. Let me stop. I had to stop that because for some reason it's trying to jump over there. But anyway, we'll get him back up here. But it is fascinating. It is fascinating listening to this. Okay, stop. Why is it still going? Hang on, guys. Okay, she needs to stop. Okay, I'm trying to get this up here. So sorry, y'all. Now I'll get it back up here, but it just takes a moment. Okay, I got to get that off of there, but not mess myself up. No, cancel. Oh, here we go. Remove. United States. There we go. All right. I don't know why I can hear double. I don't know if you can hear that. Okay, how do I get rid of this other noise? Oh, over here, stupid, over here. All right, hang on. Let me get this other noise off of there. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but I can hear it. So it might be right here. All right. So he's still talking. Okay, that's back. So hang on, I'm gonna put her back. I'm gonna put him back on. Okay, here we go. Nope.
station was
There. Now he's
before,
back.
she
Thank
kept
you.
asking me,
Sorry,
have you
guys.
had any confirmation
I'm
on
just
this?
so
Have you
afraid
had any
it's gonna,
spiritual
throw me
experiences
off, and then I'm not gonna be
about
able to see
what's going on?
y'all
She never said
or
anything.
anything,
She
and I
was
don't
just
want that
already
to happen. I'm
in
just trying
jail,
my.
but she kept saying, have you had any
We're just
experiences? Has
practicing
anything
with the
happened? I
sharing
think
screen. How about
she
that?
really truly
How about
believed
that?
or wanted to believe that some spiritual entity was going to visit me and tell me that she's what she says she is. I think that's what this is the whole time, because it's such an odd thing to continue to say. You know, have you had a dream? What did Tylee say? And I said, well, I don't believe in that. And then she says, oh, well, you know, I don't believe that either. So she kind of just immediately tries, she tries to flip flop with you and kind of chameleon and always be on your side.
Sad. It's very
So
sad.
it's this whole thing, just, you know, you realize more and more the more you listen to it, and it's just tough. It's really weird to ask me if Tylee about a dream that I had about Tylee. And I think she's referring to a really long time ago. So I think this might have been during our conversations when she was in jail, back when she first got arrested and was in Idaho and all that stuff. And I told her I had a dream about Tylee, something of that nature. So it's a really long time ago. So it's a weird, very specific question to ask me. I'm not sure what the point of that was.
And I wondered, because she had passed away, if she had actually visited you and told you something, because she visited me and told me plenty of things. And the very first thing she told me was, I'm sorry, Mom, for being such a brat. That's the first thing that she told me. And it was so tiring.
I'm going to pause here because this was the moment
Very, very bad.
This was the moment I had to make that decision to not say a rebuttal. This was a moment where I said to myself, there's no way she just said that out of her mouth, and then laughed. For some reason, she really thinks this stuff is funny. Per all of our conversations, she really, really laughs like everything is just funny. And so for her to murder my sister and then say she came from heaven to apologize to you after you murdered her, and then try to tell me that she came to you and apologized for being a brat her whole life, and it was so her and it was so whatever. I don't think it gets more nuttier than that.
I don't either.
So this was a moment, again, that I had to make a very, very conscious decision to say, I cannot give her any ammo. I can't let her know I'm upset. And a part of me is happy we didn't FaceTime. There was, the whole point was actually we were going to face this interview. And I'm really kind of glad in this moment now, I'm glad that we really didn't, because I don't think I could have held back the emotion. So thank you. I appreciate that. I love you guys. I'm happy you guys are here. I'm happy we can kind of talk this stuff out. It's definitely, I think, really helpful to talk about things that are hard. And this is really hard. This is still really hard. Even as I knew that sentence was coming just now, my whole body just cringed. So, okay. So let's just keep going. Yeah, there's no words for what, I can't believe she said that to me. And again, yes, it was an interview, but to say that to me as her brother, like I'm with you, like we're on the same team, and I'm gonna laugh or something. I don't know what her thought process was through that. So
that you recalled, and that was such a long time ago. I just always have wondered, because I never asked you at the time, what your dream was. You just had told me that you had a dream and that she had come to you, so I wondered.
yeah, I don't really remember, to be honest with you.
Okay, I just didn't know that was something that. And I totally appreciate what you believe or don't believe or whatever. You know what I believe, so it's not a big secret.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what you know from when you knew me, not what you know from what police have told you or other people have told you, but what you actually know from me personally, which that's the only other thing I wanted to ask you about, because do you remember our drive to Reno, just me and you, right?
Mm-hmm. And I remember you telling me some really out there stuff. Yeah. So
I'm going to leave this running, but hang on.
we took a
just
drive
second, guys.
together.
Let me get this
to
over
Reno.
here. Okay.
And she tried to pitch me that idea.
Hang on just a second. Did it stop? Oh, I think it did stop. Okay. Because we have to stop and commentate for fair use. But anyway, when I listen to this poor guy talk about this, I don't know how he can sit there. I'd be bawling. I'd be crying. My whole face would be a wreck from crying, because it's so hard. I mean, he knows where they were found. He just knows so much more about her than we do. And he's having to relive this thing every single time. Poor Colby. I tell you what, his wife is a rock, because she really does help him through this. And his kids are just beautiful. I'm just so proud of how he's managed to come from this horrible situation and be the person that he is today. So I'm gonna let this go back and play some more. Let's go. Let's see if I can get to play some more.
Thank you, Lynn, for saying that. She tried to pitch me the idea. She said to me, what do you think about multiple lives or something of that nature, kind of to warm it up? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And she said, well, there's definitely people who've had multiple probations. And I just remembered immediately, I said, Mom, that's never happened. No one's ever lived more than once. That's reincarnation. You know what reincarnation is? And I remember she was so upset, like just shut down, because there wasn't going to be a back and forth there. But for you to say that, and for you to try to tell me that there is, like it's fact, I'm smart enough to know, at least when it comes to the Bible, and understanding my scripture, that was one thing I know that has never ever been mentioned in the Bible. So it's just simple as that. It's as simple as that. So I think that she really wanted to draw people in. And I guess some people believed her. I guess some people were manipulated enough to believe in her belief system. And like I said before, I think I mentioned this with John. It was a really good.
Hey, Sammy, so good to see you. We're just going to re-listen to Colby talk about his mother from that interview that she did after the trial, and how he's handling it. I'm so proud of him because this is hard for him, and he's able to he's came out. I also talked about this earlier, but you weren't here yet. But anyway, there's a lot of these kids who come from these horrific situations, from these crimes, and they make a life for themselves, and they have to walk away from these parents. And that's got to be hard, because to them, their parent is never going to be in their life again. There's no way their parent can be in their life again. And those of us who have already lost both of our parents, and we wish that we still had them in our life, they could have them in their life, but they can't have them in their life because of the situation that it's put them in. So anyway, I'm going to let this play some more, but I just thought I want to let you know what we're doing, Sammy. It's so good to see you. I'm so happy you came by. Come on. Thank you so much. So here we go.
Point two was she was so good at trying to convince you, because she seemed like she had done all this research and all these things. So I think that was like one of those things where it's like, you just really have to know your scripture. And you also have to be able to understand that that's not true. And I think that she wanted to draw people in. She wanted people to join her cult. It was a cult. So it's just really tough, because she pitched me that, and it just immediately got thrown off the table. So I'm glad I told her that. I'm glad. That's one thing I'm glad I told her, is that's ridiculous. Anyway. Let's keep going, guys. Love you and appreciate your comments. Just told me that there's multiple lives, and I told you that's not true. And I really don't believe in that at all. I don't think anybody's ever lived multiple probations. I don't think anybody's ever come back besides Jesus himself. I don't think that's not something that we do. That's reincarnation. That's not something that Jesus ever mentioned in the Bible, ever. There's nobody who comes back and lives in flesh and is born again and has a whole nother different life and experience. So I truly knew when you told me that didn't make any sense to me, and it didn't sit right with my spirit. But I trusted you as my mom. I tried to give you the room to share with what you thought and felt. But as years went by, I had to do my own research on the things. And I remember thinking, when you did that and said that, I remember thinking, that's just not right in my spirit. And everybody's entitled to believe what they want. But I'm telling you, for me personally, that in no way, shape, or form do I believe that anybody's ever lived a different life. I think once you're gone, you go to heaven or wherever the Lord puts you. And that's so heaven or hell. Heaven or hell. And that's something actually me and Kelsey talked about too, is that's what I meant. I should have just said that. I think a part of me was being fragile. Why am I trying to find this without the camera? Part of me was trying to, for some reason, be fragile. And I also was walking on eggshells. You guys, obviously, I explain these in these videos, but it's really hard to explain unless you've experienced. But she's someone that is very, 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 very sensitive, trigger sensitive. So like if I say something, it'll just be blah, blah, blah. And there's actually a lot of parts in this interview alone where she does that and goes off. And I think that's the point. It's like I was trying so hard to say things without triggering her so we could continue the conversation. Now, the second point that I'll make here, and the more frustrating part, is I had an entire interview as I'm on here, and I was going on my computer trying to find my notes, trying to organize them, and trying to ask her a ton of questions. And, I had all kinds of questions about Chad and do you think you're still LDS? What do you believe in? I mean, we were going to go through the works of just a whole bunch of lists, and there were so many things that went wrong with this. And it just kept getting worse and worse. And the quality of the call was horrible, and her phone was dropping, and there was just so much going on. So like what I got is what I got, basically. the goal was to give her the opportunity to answer a question. That was it. I was going to ask a question and see what she said, because she gets to choose what she says. She could have told me the truth, and you guys know obviously what happened. So, this is definitely a tough one. So, yeah, that is 1,000% true. You know, and that's definitely a hard thing, is when somebody's that trigger ready every time you mention something. Like if you call them out on the simplest of things and they're just bah, 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 bah. So what are you supposed to do with that? So I knew that was going to be the situation in this interview times 100, honestly. So that's why there's kind of an eggshell feel to what I'm doing and saying. Love you guys too. All right, let's keep going. That is my true conviction to myself. I don't believe in anything else.
Well, I honor and respect that. And just like you said, I honor and respect what everyone else believes. They can believe whatever they want to believe, right? Like,
But don't you think that's dangerous to believe anything and just kind of have your own basis of belief rather than something that's based in truth and what the Bible says?
Okay, so I agree with you 100%. And there's a purpose for what the Bible does, and there's a purpose for...
You don't agree. Here's the only thing I don't like is if you are this convicted, stay.
Okay. You know, for fair use, we have to stop every once in a while. Okay, so but listen to what he just said. She goes, she's agreeing, but she doesn't really agree. She has went with this narrative all this time to justify what she's did. She's trying to put this over on him. And she's over here talking about, you know, he's talking about the Bible and a lot of the stuff from the patriarchal blessing, the book from the Chad's book that he wrote that I was reading, all came from the Bible. And so the Book of Mormon, a lot of the things still come back from the Bible is what I understand about this. So how can she be over here believing all of this, I'm going to call it gobbledygook for lack of a better word, because we know that this is Chad's made up religion to justify, to pull her in, to run his cult, because it is a cult. And then sit here and tell him, I mean, she's gaslighting him. She is absolutely gaslighting this poor child. I don't know how he sat through it. But anyway, we're going to keep going. So hang on a second, guys.
Stand on it. Stop trying to honor and respect me. Right? Honestly, if you are this convicted that you are that person, don't try to pander to me. Tell me what it is. I guess it's like you either double down or you backpedal. And she did neither one. She just stayed neutral. And she was trying to act as if she was acting as if she was being so respectful of my beliefs. Right. I don't know. Just ridiculous.
What it says, and it says all the right things. And most people who ever come to this earth only come one time. And that's why the Bible is for everyone. It's not, this is higher knowledge that people who need to know it can know it, and people that don't need to know it don't need to know it. So it's not widespread. It comes directly from Jesus to me. It doesn't come from any other source. It comes from Jesus Christ to me. And so that...
Cut out right there.
Let's go back to what you said.
All right. So here's something interesting that happened. Oh, Kelsey. She's very beautiful, isn't she?
I don't know why it's not blue like that, but okay.
This was really hard.
Let it just keep playing because I don't want it to shut me off.
So, like I said, the camera's cutting out a little bit because we had an audio jack in there. We were supposed to FaceTime. That didn't work. The audio is the only thing that was working. It was very, very horrible circumstances as far as tech goes. So then her phone's cutting in and out. So I guess there was a part where we were talking about her, and I straight up asked her, I said, I want to understand what zombies are. You need to explain that to me, because that's really what really triggers this whole thing. That's what really, to me, is the beginning of choosing life and death for these human beings, right? Is that they believe that this idea that you are possessed so badly that your body's hijacked and now there's nothing left of the person. The flesh is just is there, but the thing inside of it is a demon, right? So I was so clear. I said, you need to tell me about this zombie thing. I want to hear what your thoughts are on this. And that whole clip of like me asking the question and getting her answer, was she already deflected off of the answer of the zombie thing. She really pushed me off on that and did the same thing and kind of danced around it. So I had to reiterate. And in that time, she brought up there's something very interesting. And I don't know why she tried to use this example, but she talked about it. She mentions it again because I re-asked her, but she said, I believe in what happens in season 2, episode 5 of The Chosen. And obviously, I should have probably looked that up, but I think that's the episode where there's the first time they ever show Jesus casting out a demon. The guy like comes into their camp and he's like totally, sounds crazy, all this stuff. And Jesus comes running back to the camp and like just literally goes, get out. And the dude is right back to normal. I think that's what she's referring to. And I think it's very interesting to use a TV show. I mean, I'm not saying The Chosen isn't great, but I'm also saying I think it's just a little bit ridiculous that, I don't know. I think it's just a little bit ridiculous to reference The Chosen because it always seems to be something more fictional rather than scriptural or basis. Again, I really love The Chosen. I think it's a great show. I think it's really well done. But it's not like you base truth off of the show alone. It's a show about the Bible, and it does kind of stretch that out a little bit. So I'm just putting that out there. Again, no hate to The Chosen. Absolutely love that show. But I'm not going to base everything they do in the show as fact, right? A little bit different from that. So I just wanted to say that. But that whole audio clip cut, and that was really hard because we missed a lot of context there. So I had to go back to it. Yeah, exactly. I could have been snarky. I could have said a lot of stupid things to her, but obviously it was a really, really hard conversation. But it's hard to listen to somebody who's this far gone, if you want to call it that, but also trying to continue to push on that button, right? So the whole goal, I feel like I zoomed out and see the whole goal was like coming from my heart. That's what it looks like and feels like. It's like a part of her was still trying to come from my heart. And that was a hard thing to accept. That was a really hard thing to accept. So it took a really long time to get to that point. So I'm reading your guys' super chats as we go along. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you being here for this podcast. It's been really, really good for me. And you guys have been really, really good to me. And I appreciate you. And it has been really, really nice to have so many people just share their thoughts, share their love. Again, I said this earlier in the podcast, in the stream, but you guys have really helped me too with your perspectives because a lot of you have actually been really vulnerable in the comments. And I want to really address you real quick because obviously I can't respond to every single comment, but like when I can read them and go through them and read, you guys have really been vulnerable too. And you've shared your stories about your families and your parents and just kind of giving your points. I've seen some therapists have chimed in and made their points. And I think that's really been really helpful too. But just when you guys are when we're vulnerable, there's something that can happen. There's something real that can happen, and there can be a real conversation without there being any bias or anything. You're just talking out something, and that's what.
Okay, think of this for a moment. Here he is. He's going from his heart. I mean, he's really trying to talk to her and understand her, and in some way find some way to connect with her, but he can't. She's over here talking about a TV show, talking about things that aren't real, talking about the delusions that she's in her head that, Chad Daybell has filled in her head. I mean, poor Colby. He just wanted to understand. He just wanted to find some way in his mind and at his heart to find some way to, forgive her, be engaged with her, try to understand. But if she's over here in La La Land talking about TV shows, what in the Sam hell? I mean, think about that. Poor Colby, poor Colby. Okay, I'm gonna let this play some more.
what matters to me. So that's all I've ever cared about doing on this channel. That's what matters to me. And we have created a beautiful community of all of you guys. And we have a lot of new subscribers, which I'm grateful for, because I just want our community to continue to grow. And again, I want to be able to help in any way, that shape, form that I can. And you guys have been a part of this journey. So really appreciate that. Okay. Making my point to you. Okay. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to get back into the video. Drop your comments and stuff. Try to highlight some stuff. We can do some discussion afterwards, and we'll keep going. I don't know how far in we are. Oh, guys, we're 5 minutes in. We're about 6 minutes in. This is going to be either a really long video for us, or we're going to have to do this in 2 parts. Ooh. I just have so much to say to you guys about what's going on here. So, all right, let's jump back in. I feel like, honestly, that there's a lot to talk about here. Can you go over? You said Tylee's been visiting you, so I wanted. There's a lot of things I want to go through, but you said Tylee visited you and spoke to you. And JJ, I heard this in your statement that you made. I wanted to know, what you mean by that, and one of the reasons I wanted to talk. I'm asking her to tell me, be specific. That's what I'm asking is, what does it mean by visit? Because you asked me about a dream where you said that Tylee visited you in a dream, or asked if I got visited by Tylee in a dream versus being like manifested in front of. That's a very, very different thing. So I was trying to be specific, and I wanted her to basically just say what she means, and she just said that. So yeah, we're 6 minutes in, guys. Let's keep going. Legion. Let's go back to what we were talking about. So in the Bible, there's that moment, I think it's in John 5, where Jesus casts out the demons. It's Mark 5. And he gets rid of them, and then the man is back to normal. You said that there was a reference to the chosen, and I wanted to hear what you said because it cut out. So what do you believe in when it comes to the zombie idea? Because that's where you were at. That's what you were telling me.
Yes, I would love to address this because.
Okay, there it is. So I just wanted to point that out again. She's saying I'd love to address this because she knows that this is going to be public. So this is her making her point, and we'll go over some of the stuff she says in here, but it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's Kelsey again. But yeah, it's definitely super, super ridiculous. And this was her explanation of everything. She said okay, anyway, let's play it.
Said the word,
I don't know what she said there, by the way.
This has gone out of control, India, whoever made up this whole zombie thing and escalated what my basic belief was. Okay? I, Lori, have gone through my whole entire discovery, and there's not one thing. Do you know if you do a search and you do the word zombie in a search in my discovery, do you know the only thing that comes up is when JJ was ordering those little zombie babies from Minecraft. That's the only thing that comes up in all of my 19 years of my iCloud. I was not saying that. That is not something I said.
All right, so that's a dang lie. We both know that. Yeah. I don't even think iCloud's been around for 19 years. So let's put it that way. Would you ever do a podcast with Chad Frankie, since you both have similar upbringings and mothers in prison? What's actually interesting? Kelsey's the one that told me who Chad was. Chad Frankie, let's be very clear, not Chad Daybell. But I would definitely talk to Chad. I think he is. I can't imagine what he's been through, but my whole goal, again, on this channel is to talk to people like him and talk to different people and provoke. Guys, I'm really struggling at 7:30. Provoke thoughts, and have conversations with people like that are very real, and are outside of the norm of something that you would hear in the mainstream media. That's kind of the whole point. And I think that Dr. John helped me break that barrier and just what is possible to talk about without there being a goal of trying to get something out of you. Just really talk it through. So I would definitely talk to Chad. I really hope he's doing all right with everything. And I feel for him. I just watched a tiny little clip of his story. And it was just enough. So, but I've seen some comments about him. I've seen some comments about others. Again, that's the goal here. Really, really talk to different types of people and really walk through, people's stories and testimonies. Everybody's been through things. So that's how we learn and grow. So with that being said, let's get back to this. We're going real slow, but we'll get through it together.
Yeah. So yes, can evil spirits visit humans like it did in John 5? Yes, I believe that. Do I believe I have the power to cast them out? Yeah, I do. The same way he cast him out in episode 5 of season 2 of The Chosen.
Okay.
So yes, those are my bait.
Cut out again. You there?
Sorry, the Wi-Fi here is so terrible. It just keeps cutting out.
Sorry. Yeah, we can just go through it. So you were saying that you never said the word zombie. That was never used by you.
Ever.
Okay, so she called people Z's. The thing I actually saw was her text saying that I think she texted Alex and said, bad news, our brother's a Z. I think that's in the documentary. I just don't understand how you think I don't know what that means. As if I don't know anything and that everything that has been said is an absolute lie. Everything that anybody has reported on, her texts, everything else is a lie. She never said these things. She's doing it. I'm really curious on how her mind is going to this place. So, is it breaking up? Hold on one second.
Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of like breaking up and stuff that happens in this, but he spoke about the Frank kids too. They are survivors. They would have went through hell as well. Can you imagine those children? And I would love to see Harley Hunt and Colby and the Frank kids and a few of these other children from these horrific situations all come together and actually talk about it. I mean, I think they could all learn a lot from each other because in a way they were all gaslighted, confused, and basically living in a cult-like situation. And it's really the kids. I mean, how do they ever recover? How did Daybell's kids ever recover? Because they were so brainwashed in this whole situation. I mean, what do you think they believe now? I would like to know what they believe and what they don't believe. I know that one of his children wanted nothing to do with this. He did not come to the trial. He didn't want to be involved at all. And I don't blame him. I mean, I can see where it would be just mentally draining to go out into the world every day, be who you are, and try to live your life. But over your shoulder is this on your back 24/7 because people know who you are. It's got to be just the most mentally draining situation anybody's ever. I mean, I cannot even imagine. You think of all these terrible things they've seen, they've heard, they were lied to, they were forced to live in, all the preparation by Chad telling his kids, oh, your mother's not going to live very long. It was all just this big bunch of BS just to make them be okay with their mother all of a sudden passing away in the middle of the night like that. And see, in my mind, and I could be totally wrong, I don't know for a fact, but in my mind, I really do believe that Chad planned this for a long time. But the only one who would ever go for any of this was stupid Lori. Lori just grabbed onto it because she wanted to be on a pedestal for so long by any one of her husbands, and even though Charles loved her and he would have done anything for her, he could not give her that type of pedestal life because it was unreal, because it's not religion. It seems like it just all came from television shows. If you've stopped and thought about it, if you ever went back and watched some of Letitia Stouch's crap, you would see that she also referenced TV shows. Yeah, she also referenced TV shows and included them in her craziness to try to appear to be mentally ill by saying that the vampires would come to her in her cell and that she was, talking about the Vittori and all that kind of thing. It's the same kind of garbage. I mean, these poor kids. Anyway, we'll let this keep playing. I just wanted to let y'all know that it's bad because the sound coming into him is bad. So here we go.
Sorry, guys. I hope the live's not messing up here. Can you guys hear me? Hope it's not messing up here. You guys hear me? Is that better? Sorry, guys. We're just learning how to stream. Hopefully, it's gonna be still work for you guys. Sounds better. I'll try to keep the mic right here. That might be another big problem. Yeah, guys, let me know if it's good. We'll keep going. We'll keep going through this, chucking through. But yeah, it's really, really tough. I don't know how you can get to this point where you're mentally trying to tell me like I've never seen or heard anything from anybody else or any of the evidence. It's better? Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for helping me out. I would have just kept going. It might be the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi might be messed up. So hopefully it doesn't do that to you guys. But this is really, really, really crazy to me that she's just trying to sit there to convince me that this is the reality, that she never said this, that this was not done, that none of this happened the way that people are saying that it happened, as if everybody conspired together to come against her. I guess you just really don't understand how life works at this point. So tell me let me know if it's choppy. We're going to keep trying to go. If it's really messed up, I don't know. I don't want to give you guys a bad life. So let's just jump back in. I'll read your guys' comments. Hopefully it'll catch up and the live will catch up to you guys. Okay. We'll go from there. Okay. So, I have a lot to ask you, honestly, but I wanted to give you the floor to really say your piece. And since we're cutting out so much, maybe it's just a good time. You told me one day you'd want to say it in our last phone call. Good. You said that you wanted to tell me what has happened. So I'm going to just give you the floor real quick. If you want to say your piece, and maybe I'll just have follow-up questions after that. But I want to go ahead, and I think you know what I'm referring to is what really happened then with my brother and my sister and this whole thing. And I know that we could. So real quick, at this point in the interview, like I said, so much has happened. She's already said a bunch of crazy stuff. And because the audio is so bad, because it's choppy, because it's not working, I just really had to make a decision and say, you know what, you have a certain amount of time per call anyway. And then on top of that, you're paying for time. And so all this is happening and all of this is going on. And I just knew I kind of had to throw the rest of the interview out because I knew things were going to go the way I wanted to. So I truly just kind of said, okay, just let's get to my main question I have for you. And I just jumped in, and that's basically, this is how this whole thing happened, is really to see if she would answer this question. And we had to jump in because I didn't know how long it was going to last. I didn't know if she was ever going to be able to call back. Like it was at that point. So we had to jump into the deep end at this point. So we're going to play this through. Talk about my dad, but I'm assuming that that's because of your case is a little not for right now. We can always follow up on that at some point because I do have a lot of questions about it all. But I'm gonna try to just keep it strictly to my brother and my sister. So I just want to give you the floor real quick, and I think we'll just kind of go from there.
Well, it's obviously different than what everyone else thinks, and I don't know that
Thank you,
if
Mama.
you knew the truth of what really actually happened, if you would want it to be in a public forum. Colby. I mean, I talk to you personally. I know that you are the only person on this planet, to me, who loves Kylie and JJ as much as I do. The only person. So in all of my 4 years or 5 years of going through this, because it's been 5 years now, I have asked every one of my attorneys, how can you help me to talk to Colby in a way that I can let him know the truth of what happened, because he's the only person on this planet, not my mom, not my sister, not anybody else. Colby is the only person.
This is what really pisses me off. We're not two peas in a pod. The fact that you think I'm the only one that deserves answers is the craziest thing ever. I stood in those rooms and I saw all the people who were affected as victims. Okay, I saw all of their faces and all of their lives have changed. And you're going to tell me that you would only tell me, first of all, that's ridiculous. Okay, it's ridiculous. I don't just deserve to know. I'm not the only person on the planet Earth that loved Kylie and JJ. So that first statement alone is ridiculous, right? Secondly, she's trying to create us to be pulled in together. Or I had to see that. She's pulling me in at this point to kind of make us special. And I think that's really, really hard. I don't know. It's just really hard to process still that this was this manipulative, because at first it's just emotional. I can see on my own face it's emotional because I just have never got this out of her. So for her to keep saying it was just us. I know I did a lot for my brother and my sister, but I'm the only one that loved them. And I'm the only one that deserved answers. That's absolutely ridiculous. I've never heard your opinion on Alex. Do you believe he's 100% accountable like everybody else, or do you believe he was their fall guy? That is interesting. A lot of people have asked me about Alex. That could be a very long video if we did talk about it. I could give you a long answer, a short answer. I mean, there's a lot I could say about him. I had to process him differently because I wasn't as connected to Alex. I'll just tell you what I think real quick. And then we'll talk about this subject separately. This is definitely something we should talk about separately. But I think that Alex was seriously just put in position to do whatever my mom said, and I can't believe he did it. I can't believe he listened to anybody, and I can't believe that I 1000 in my own opinion believe he was the number one person that did all of the killing. That's my opinion. I don't know if that's true 100%, but that's what I think. So outside of that, there's a lot more we could get into. Yeah, we'll definitely let's leave that for another time. I think that there's a lot to say there. I just there's so much to process here, Let's stick to this. Let's stick to this real quick. I appreciate your comment. Something we'll talk about at some point. But yeah, there's a lot of people, a lot of hurt, a lot of betrayal, a lot of family members, and all of this stuff is very, very complex. So just wanted to say that one little piece, not get too deep into it. Okay, so we're gonna jump back into this. I appreciate you guys sticking with us. We're rocking, we're rolling, we're 10 minutes in. Well, we might have to do a part 2, guys. We might have to. It's getting long. All right, and anyway, if anything else is going wrong tech wise, you guys just let me know in the comments.
on this planet who loved JJ and Tylee like I did. He was the only person that truly cared. And in my opinion, he is the only person who deserves to know what really happened. So can you help me find a way where I can talk to Colby privately and tell him, because this is a horrible situation and I want to be able to talk to you, but I don't know that after you know what actually happened, if you would want that to be public.
Okay. Well, basically, you said no one was murdered. That was your biggest statement. You said not one single person was murdered, that everybody, you said there were suicides and deaths, accidental deaths, and you said that there was drug overdoses, that no one was murdered. So that's what I'm going to ask you then. If you were willing to say it in your statement, then I'm asking you to say it to me. If you don't want to go into detail, that's your decision. But that's what I'm asking you today. So I was point blank asking her because I'm not sure if you guys saw my video, but I processed my mom's statement she made in court at the end of her trial. And that was where she made that statement very clear. She said that no one was taken, that everything was an accident. She said all that stuff. And I think that I was just like, okay, so you just said it. Now, you didn't get specific, but you said what you said happened. So I'm asking you point blank, what do you mean by that? What are you talking about? Because we all know they were murdered. We all know that. And you're sitting here saying that never happened. So I had to find a way to directly ask her things in a very soft way. Again, trying to avoid triggers, trying to not get just snapped on, and trying to actually see if she'd give an answer. Because, again, if you trigger her, she's going to go off the rails and it's become an emotional reaction in a volcano. And I had to just slow my roll the best I could and ask her questions slowly, just so she would actually give me the answer. Because she kept trying to dance around it. She's saying, I don't know if you want this to be public, because she knows it's an interview. So the first thing she's trying to set me up with is, I want to tell you in private. I want to tell you in private. I want to tell you in private. Well, guess what? There's not going to be that time. We're not going to have a private conversation where you just tell me what's going on. So I need you to tell me. And so I just had to get straight to that point. So just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Anyway, let's keep going.
Well, what I can tell you is that I wrote out what happened with those 38 pages, and that's what I was telling my attorneys. I need this to get to Colby. I don't care who else it has to go through, but I don't think it's fair to Colby to not have this information, since he is the only person I feel like was as close to that cared about JJ and Tylee like I did. Now, you are the only person, Colby, in the entire world that I felt like I said, I want to talk to Colby and tell him, because he deserves to know. I don't care what anybody else knows, and I frankly don't care what anybody else thinks. It's not their children. They're my children, and they're your brother and sister, and we were the family, and we were the ones doing everything for them. And when you took care of JJ, when Tylee was in the hospital that time before we had to move to Hawaii, and you sat there with him.
All right, here it goes. This is the manipulation I realized. And it's hard because this stuff's real. This is real life stories. She's pulling from the past. She's pulling from my experiences that she knows that meant a lot to me. I was 17 years old, if that, when we were about to move to Hawaii, and Tylee had to go to the hospital for her pancreatitis. And my mom was gone. They were gone for usually if they ever went to the hospital for that, they were gone for at least 3 to 5 days, maybe more. And Charles had left. And so I was by myself with JJ, and he was young, and he was unresponsive in a lot of ways. We couldn't really connect yet. And he was just he really wouldn't look me in the eyes yet. We had years of relationship building because of his autism, and it all felt and became worth it, But it was just really hard, and we really worked for our relationship. But at that point, he was not there yet. And it meant a lot to me because it was a moment and time where I was all by myself with him every day, almost all day. She'd come home for maybe like 30 minutes to an hour to say hi to him, shower and get clothes and go back. And it was just me and him. So I had him for like almost a week by myself. And that time meant more to me than I can really explain, even though it was really hard. It meant a lot to me. So she's pulling on that string. Just got here, is going to ask if you live in Arizona and if you're going to the trial in Arizona. We're not sure yet. It really just depends. I'm sure we probably will, to be honest with you. Sorry, I'm just reading your guys' chat, just catching up real quick. Got new members. You guys are awesome. And yeah, if you guys know, if you've had someone if you have someone you know who has autism, just depends on kind of where they sit with everything. But, JJ really had a hard, just being born was very difficult for JJ. And he was a miracle. Altogether, he was a miracle. And it took us just years to build a real relationship. And it meant everything to me. And she's pulling on that, which I realize how manipulative that is. And it really hurts. And that's why I just started bawling, because she's pulling on real stuff for me. It's real to me. In my opinion, I think Tylee too much. Yeah. It's really hard because there's a lot of things that I think, there's a lot of almost conspiracy theories if you want to go down that road. But at the end of the day, I think that they just had malice in their heart. No matter what Tylee did,
Okay, so I need to stop this for a second. Of course, the fair use thing, but also, when you listen to him tell the story and she starts using that heartstring for him, another thing that she is, look, I think she's got a lot of Munchausen type symptoms going on here, because she uses these things and she's starting to get upset. She's playing on his heart and she's trying to suck him into reliving these days back then. She just has a lot of, she's one of the most manipulative women I've ever really listened to. To me, she's right up there with, Letitia Stouch. They are the same. I just want y'all to know also, there is a book that has been written that I'm going to buy this book. And it's called, When the Moon Turns to Blood. It was written by Lee Sotal, and it's talked about in The Independent. Now, The Independent has a really good article about all of this. It's very, very informative. And I would like to talk about that one day too, but we can only talk about so much because we can't be on here for 5 or 6 hours. But anyway, but when I hear her talk about the kids and them being sick, and basically she starts victim blaming, because if you remember, go back to Charles's trial, and she sit there and she says, had there been no bat, there would have been no gun. She is blaming she's blaming her daughter, Tylee, for bringing out the bat, saying that is the reason why Charles is now gone. Because had there been no bat, there would have been no gun. What in the hell is wrong with her? It just makes me sick when I hear her do this. Those babies, oh my Lord, they just deserve so much more. And again, I'm so proud of Colby. I can't say it enough, how he's been able to come out, talk about this, get his real feelings out in front of everybody. And that's very hard to do. Very hard to do. And be able to talk about it and keep going, because I don't know that I would be able to, being in the same position that he was put in. So we're going to let this finish. I'm trying to let his phone call with her. When his phone call is over with her, I'm going to turn this off, the first part here. And then, we can talk about something else. But it is fascinating. And I'm just proud of him. So here we go.
they had malice in their heart. JJ and her did nothing wrong. Charles did nothing wrong. Tammy did nothing wrong. So this was all for their own gain at the end of the day. And these were decisions she made and they made together to get what they want from people and thought that they were just inevitable. So I don't know. It's a lot of things we could say. Anyway, let's get back to it. Love you guys. We're still going. And we're getting there. We're 12 minutes in. We're doing good.
As a 2-year-old with before medication, before we knew he had autism, he would just run like 100 miles an hour. And I remember because when you picked us up at the airport, picked us up, and you were so mad at me when you picked me up with JJ, and you were like, what are you doing? And you're too old to be, you're a grandma age, and you're too old to have this baby, and what are you doing? And he's going to have so many problems, and you were really mad. And JJ came with his own love, and you fell in love with JJ. You, Colby, did. And when you had to take care of him during that time, I think that bonded you the most to him. When you took care of him, and Tylee and I were in the hospital, and Charles was in Hawaii trying to set up the house, and
Absolutely.
we were trying to move out of that huge 5,000 square foot house, and we were just throwing everything in the dumpster because we couldn't move it. We didn't have time because we didn't expect Tylee to be with pancreatitis in the hospital, and I was in there with her screaming. And and so you are the only person that deserves to know the truth. Also, I can't tell the story of what happened to
Absolutely.
Tylee and JJ
Shout out to
without
everybody.
telling Tylee's life. And I don't necessarily want to tell that to the public, but you know it. You are the only person who lived it with me and her. You lived it with me. You went with me and her to therapy every week. You were the ones there where she was crying and screaming
Absolutely.
and throwing things in walls because they were forcing her to go to jail. You saw all of her moods. You knew how she had depression and anxiety attacks. And you and Kelsey were even coming over to mentor her during that time. You know because you.
So this had nothing to do with my question, right? I asked her what she meant by her statement, and I could have been more clear. I realize that now, but I could have said, you made this in your statement. What did you mean by that? You said that nobody was killed. All this stuff happened. There's accidental deaths, suicides, all these things. Who are you talking about, and what do you mean? And here we are having this whole conversation about something that we're talking about. And this is what I mean, guys. This is what I'm talking about is here's the beginning point. Now here we are doing this. I mean, nothing you're saying has anything to do about what I asked you in the first place. So she's basically trying to give me a whole history lesson of my history and then my siblings' history and how we're all interconnected. I know all that, right? But it's a manipulation tactic to try to reground us together in the same boat. And that is what really, hit me in the face is, why are you telling me this story? I know that stuff. I lived it. What is the goal here? And why are we having this conversation? And why are you saying all this sweet nothings to me? I mean, was I there for the kids and they're a part of our family? Yes, but so were other people. So why are you just telling me all this runaround stuff when I asked you a very simple question? So to me, when I listen to this, it sounds like she's really trying to get out of answering the question because she kept avoiding it, kept saying, I don't know if you want this to be public. She's trying to tell me I wouldn't want this public. No, I'm asking you. So obviously I'm accepting whatever your answer is going to be. Not that it's the truth, but I'm telling you in the interview what happened. I'm asking you. So I'm just trying to get her to answer the question. It's tough. Colby, you're an amazing child of God. First of all, thank you. I love how you utilize scripture for truth. You exude the Holy Spirit. It's beautiful. You feel like you need closure with Chad? That's a really good question. Thank you for saying that. I don't know Chad. I don't know him at all. Never met him, saw him at court, and I don't know who this man is. The closure I think I needed was with the one person I could get closure with in any way, shape, or form at this point is my own mom. And that's what this conversation kind of was. If you guys have heard the end of this conversation, and we'll get into that later, I was one of the reasons I was calling my mom was to say goodbye to her, basically, because I never really had planned on ever having another conversation, because this was it. This is all I ever needed, and it's not like I wanted it, but she said what she said. So with that being said, I don't really have a lot of feelings on him. He's someone that aided in the most horrible downfall in my family. And I had to process him differently again because I don't know this guy. This is a random person that I've just heard stories about. So, yeah, he's just someone I've had to process through, and still have to process how crazy it is to have someone like that just pop in and do all this stuff. But in my opinion, my mom is the gateway to everything. So if my mom doesn't greenlight this stuff, then this won't happen. If she would have stood against all of this and said, no, this is wrong, this is not happening, you're not doing this to my family, ran away and had every opportunity to do so, I have to accept the fact that my mom was willing to do all of this and was a willing passenger, if you will. So you just have to take it for what it is. Kelsey, stop it. Don't start the Peter Griffin chats in here. Don't get everybody starting to do the Peter Griffin. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. I mean, this whole thing was really tough. I mean, what are you supposed to do with all these different catalysts and all these different people? What do? You have all these people who have done horrible things together, and 2 of them are your family members, and 1 is some random guy you've never heard of. What do you do with that? And you got to deal with it. I have a lot of things I could say. I have learned to, even though I could say a lot of funny things about this situation, and not that it's funny, but about.
I mean, I think he uses a little bit of laughter to help him get through that. Because again, he's talking about his mother, his uncle, and this random person that she brings into their life that causes this complete chaos for no reason at all, other than exactly what the prosecutor said. You know, sex, money, it's all of it. It's all just Chad's fantasy that he sucked her into, and she's just as responsible as he is because she allowed herself to be sucked into this. For what? I mean, poor Tammy. Chad's kid, everybody involved. Kay and her husband. I mean, I love Kay. I don't know how she's managed to go on. I just these family members. Just heart goes out to them because every single day they are reliving this. And every time there's a new trial and all of this stuff is brought up, they are reliving this. It is their life. It is real. It is hard. It is raw. And these people are having to relive this every single day that it's in the news, every single day that we're all talking about it. But, as Colby being the son of her and the only one that's here to actually talk about it, it's so important for us to understand and listen to his thoughts, because that's how he's gonna grow and become better. Because you can't hold it all in. If you hold it all in, your life is gonna fall apart too. You just can't do that to yourself. So let's let him finish this one phone call, and then we'll come back and talk about what our next step is.
About them as people and their fantastical side and all those things. I really try to tend to just say less and not try to go for the joke, because he's someone I've definitely tried to steer from making more fun of. I mean, I already told my mom how I feel about him. So I think I've just kind of kept my opinions in that way to myself. Anyway, we're going to keep going. There's a lot to process all at once. So we're going through it. We're taking our sweet time. We're almost through. Not at all. It's 14 minutes, but appreciate your guys' comments. I appreciate you being here. This is fun for me. As hard as this is, it's fun for me to see you guys here. And I appreciate you guys leaving your opinions. So let's keep going.
You were there with JJ. You were there with Tylee. And and I didn't want to write it out like that. I didn't want to just say, oh, this is what happened. I wanted to talk to you and answer your questions. So I can tell you everything that actually happened. And if you have a question of something, well, the police said this, then I have an answer for that. That's not what, they weren't there and they don't know. So I wanted to talk to you so I could hear your questions and answer your questions, because you are the only person besides me on this whole earth who really loved both of them.
How many times has that been said? That's been said so many times. It's not true. And you just have to keep. It was just really rough. This whole thing's rough.
And so you heard what happened. If you heard that, what I wrote.
They wouldn't give me the detail, really. So that's why I'm asking, because that's what.
Yeah, but I would be happy to tell you personally and privately,
Thank you, Marcus.
because I don't know if you want those details out in the public.
Well, you pretty much said it in the trial. So I guess I'm wondering why you said those things if you weren't willing to just share, if that's the truth. If that's the truth that you say it is.
Well, it is the truth, and it's exactly what happened. But
Do you want me to say what I've seen personally?
sure.
Oh, she didn't want to hear what I had to say. The reason I hit her with the reality of what happened afterwards is because this conversation was steering. And so I'm basically getting her to understand what I know. And basically that's what I was saying to her. I learned I could have been way more direct and said, this is the evidence. But I was trying not to trigger, said it a million times, and just giving you guys context. But I had to just lay it out and say, this is what the evidence was, and this is what happened in the aftermath of whatever happened to them. So I needed her to know I knew what that really looked like, and she needed to understand that I'm not stupid. So
It's going to be heavy, so I hope you're ready for this. They found my little brother in a bag, tied up, buried, and then they found remnants of my sister. Remnants, not even
remnants, not remnants.
a person anymore. Remnants of her.
Can you imagine why that is? Do you have any reason to think that would happen?
What kind of question is that?
Okay, exactly. What do you mean, Lori? Do you know why that is? This is another question that I've always had about this case. Why was JJ's little baby body treated so much differently than Tylee's? Why did Chad have to go to this extreme over there with Tylee? Because I absolutely 100% believe, and I could be wrong, and I hope I'm not, but I think he's the one that did that to her. I really do believe that. He always said Tylee did not like him. Well, maybe Tylee could see through this BS that was going on and see things that were happening, and I'm sure she was talking to her mom about it, or I assume she was talking to her mom about it, but nobody wanted to listen to her, you know. And so I don't understand it. I mean, but when you think back about what happened, it's remember Chad's in their discussions and in the podcast and all these little things that we heard, it was specifically mentioned the only way to stop a new bad spirit from getting into the body was to dismember and burn it so that there was no possible way for a new bad spirit to get into a body. I remember that 100%. What the hell, Lori? What's wrong with you? Well, we know what's wrong with her, but let's let him finish.
Do you have any idea why that was the case? No, I'm asking you. Hello? Sorry, that's the snappy side. Let me slow my roll here.
No.
So did you know Tylee's desire of wanting to be cremated?
It's hard to listen to this, bro.
That was your version of cremating her?
It wasn't mine.
Whose was it?
Because that doesn't sound.
It wasn't mine. But did you know that she had that desire?
No.
Well, so you don't know because you weren't there, but when after Charles passed away, and Alex and I and Tyler were at our table in there at the house in Chandler, and we were going over Charles.
Passed away. The delusion is, it's not even delusion. It's, here's my middle finger. Why don't you put it in your mouth? That's what it's like, bro. My gosh. To sit there and say this stupid stuff, to bring up Tylee as if that was her desire after she was murdered. That was her desire. That's what she wanted. Sick. Utterly ridiculous. And why would you say that to me? Why would you say that to me? Like, I'm not. It's just ridiculous, bro. I'm getting real heated here. This is the time I can be mad now. I can really let it out. Not on the phone with her. Should have just went off on her, but what it is.
Wishes, and Charles had put all his stuff down saying he wanted to be cremated, and don't ever put me in a box or I'll come back and haunt you, because he was claustrophobic. He didn't like the idea of being in a box, and he had said all these funny things on his letter to me. And Tylee said to me and Alex at the time, she said, don't you put me in a box either. She's like, whenever I'm out of here, I want to be cremated. That was her big thing.
So why wasn't she cremated?
Put into a box.
Why didn't you cremate her? If she,
Yeah, exactly. If that was her desire, anyway, so it's so illogical. Exactly. Why would you let anybody, how could you be pitched on any of this? Oh my gosh, bro. Okay. This is getting into the deep end, so let's just keep going.
wasn't murdered, why was she picked?
But she wasn't.
Okay, according to what you say, and you say you were there, I'm trying to give you this space without telling you what I think and feel. I'm trying to ask you the question because that's not cremation. I have my brother and sister's ashes. That's cremation. I have them.
Can you imagine coming in on that scene? Can you imagine as a mother, your father now? So imagine you come in and find two of your children deceased.
So they just died out of nowhere.
She just gaslighted him right there. Imagine your children coming in on that scene. Lori, shut up. What? Why? Stop doing this to him. He deserves so much better than you. I guarantee you that. Colby is a good person.
I didn't say that.
You come home or whatever, and both your kids are dead. And then what? You just never tell me what happened? Or you never tell anybody anything? I'm trying to understand you.
You can't, because you can't imagine what that is like. You can't even imagine, you know how much I love those kids. You know how much I put into them. You know how much I've done everything to protect them. You know how much I've done everything to get Tylee every kind of
Okay,
help.
so hold on. This is what I'm talking about. What does that have to do with anything I asked you? How did you go from the conversation we're having about you, what you just said, which is a bomb, by the way, an absolute bomb, that you walked in and found them unalived, okay? Then now somehow it's about everything you ever did. Why do you deserve a medal for being a parent? Is that, if I miss this, where's the award ceremony? I'll come. Do I get one? I've changed a lot of diapers. Oh my God. What are we doing right now? I don't understand what you're telling me. I don't need to hear the backstory of everything good you've ever done. That doesn't change anything. It has nothing to do with what I asked you or what we're talking about. There's so out of context. So out of context. So what are we talking about here? What are you talking about? I've done everything I've ever done, and I did everything for those kids, and I fed them, and I put clothes on their back, and I put a roof over their head. Okay. Kind of the point. If your child goes to the hospital, you should want to sleep on the floor next to him if you can't find a bed. I don't understand what we're freaking talking about here. Oh, guys, if Kelsey was here, she would be going off. She would be going crazy. It's so frustrating because it's just like she's always kind of done that and thrown it in your face. Like, I've done everything I can for you. I've done everything for you. Okay, then don't do it for me, because now you're throwing it back in my face. You raised me, you bought me a pair of Jordans, whatever. Then don't even take them back. Have them. Because if you're gonna throw what you did in people's faces, as a parent, by the way, not like your friend, not like your cousin, but your parent telling you, I've done all this, this, and this for you, giving you a list of stuff. I don't understand what this has to do with the context of what I asked. And I'm realizing that's the circle that we're going in here. Every time I ask a question, we go out of here. You guys like the sound effects? I'm putting this out here so Kelsey sees it. She will. We will definitely do something when it's the right time. All right, let's keep going.
In court to keep her safe.
Okay.
Fought in every kind of hospital so they wouldn't do a whole bunch of horrible stuff to her when she was sick all the time. You know what I did for them.
I know.
So you imagine walking in, finding them, and they had been gone for hours. There is nothing I can do, even though you just can't imagine. You can't imagine that scenario. It's you believe it, you can't imagine that scenario. And
Okay, we have to stop right there. Now, if you remember, there's no way that that's even possible, because Tylee was gone way before JJ was gone. Nobody had seen Tylee in weeks, but they had seen JJ up until that one moment. Remember, David Warwick wanted to say goodbye to JJ, but he couldn't. You know, all the pieces and how they go together. God, I don't know how Colby sat there and listened to this. I really don't. Let's let this finish, because it is heartbreaking. It is unbelievable. This narcissistic, psychopathic, I'm not going to say a bad word, but I want to, is doing this to her son when he is just trying to have a conversation and understand what happened here, to try to get some kind of closure, but he can't even get a closure. So let's let him finish.
And when I came in,
There we go.
and I knew,
Oh, wait a minute, I got to restart it. Hang on. Whoops. Sorry about that.
and when I came in,
There we go.
and I knew Tylee had been upset, and I knew that she was upset with me that weekend because she wouldn't stay in the house because I would only stay there. She only give, as you know, everyone knows this.
It's hard for me to listen to her talk. I'm getting more interested in what you guys are saying than listening to her repeat this stuff. Ugh. It's just so hard to listen to because I'm out of the emotion of the fact that I'm talking to her now. I'm out of the emotion. And as I'm listening, the more frustrating everything becomes. And I think she just mentioned it. I hope I'm right. She just mentioned that Tylee had to take the essential oils in 6th grade. My mom made her take those because her teacher was trying to help her with her health and said, here's a bunch of essential oils you can take. You can take the little pill capsules, fill them up, and take them. She genuinely cared. And my mom was the one who was forcing the essential oils on her. So like even stupid little things like that where she's mixes it up and now the teacher's the problem. The teachers made her take it. The teacher didn't make her take it. You did. I remember that. And Tylee hated it. And I even took them one time myself. And they were horrible because they can taste the essential oil. And then I remember I burped it up. TMI, don't care. It was literally one of the worst tastes and one of the worst feelings in my stomach ever having that essential oil inside me. So all I'm saying is stupid things like that to constantly make you look like the good guy and constantly flip little things like that on their heads is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm getting real frustrated. She walked in and found them. She thought Tylee killed JJ on purpose and came to her and corrected and explained them as an accident. Okay, well, one of the things, and we can talk about that too as it comes up. Thank you for your chat. her thing was too that she said it was an accident or it was in spite. So she can't even come up with a real explanation for herself. You said Tylee either did it in spite or it was an accident. What lane do you want to pick? Right? Why don't you pick a side? Why don't you do, at least if you're going to make believe land, maybe since you scripted it in a bunch of pages, you can't even remember what you wrote. It doesn't make any sense. And obviously it's not true, but this is where we're at.
Jay did her. And she couldn't stand her smell because she had
That's
the
right here.
essential oils, and Tylee got sick of the essential oils in 6th grade because her teacher made her drink the essential oils. in
You
6th grade
did.
to help with
Come on,
pancreatitis, if
Colby.
you remember all that.
Yeah.
So she didn't want to stay there. So I asked her to babysit JJ, put him to bed that night, which is what she always has done, right? She was going to.
Okay. Why does Tylee always put him to bed? That's not true. And Tylee really did take care of JJ. And I'm sure she had to pick up an extra load because of how much more crazy my mom was becoming. And Tylee was more sane than her. It's just ridiculous.
So sad.
I was going to do my podcast with stupid Melanie and Dave, right? So JJ wouldn't interrupt it. And then I was picking him up in the morning to get him ready and take him to school. And when I came in on that scene and they were gone, I thought Tylee did it to get back at me. I thought it was all my fault.
Okay.
I thought she was
So
mad.
Tylee got mad. Tylee got mad at you.
Okay, right there, she victim blaming. Victim blaming Tylee, who was not even in the house when this happened. If you remember right, David and stupid Melanie Gibbs, as she called her, were in the house. Tylee was not there at all. So here we go again. God, poor Colby. Oh, come on, internet, don't do that.
You. And so does what? Does that make any sense? Who would do that to spite their mom? It's the stupidest freaking thing you've ever heard in your life. Here it is, right here, ladies and gentlemen. Stupidest thing you've ever heard in your life. This is it.
Mad at me, and that's what had happened. And the reason why she visited me and why JJ visited me and came to me right after that is because to tell me that it wasn't my fault, because I was blaming myself 100%. 100%. Why?
It's 1,000% on you. 1,000% on you. And that's even you, in a sense, admitting it. It was your fault. Just because you might not have put your physical hands and did the work, that's really not the same thing. They're your kids. And at this point, they're solely your kids and your responsibility. It's not even a question. So now it's feel sorry for me again. I thought it was all my fault. I thought that she did it in spite. And I made her mad, so she did that. Who does that when they're mad, bro? Almost nobody. Especially not Tylee. Frick out of here. You're pissed.
Why didn't I get Tylee more help? Why did I let her get off of her meds? Why did I not do something different? Why did I let Melanie get to stay here? Why did I do any of these things that would lead to this?
Dude,
How
talking
could
about
it
stupid
possibly
stuff.
have happened? Why and how? Why and how? I mean, you can't even imagine what that is like. No one on the earth can imagine what that's like.
You're
Yeah,
telling
so
me
now
that
it's her.
Tylee.
Have you noticed, this is
Jeez.
another really interesting point, is there has to be a singling out, okay? There has to be a singling out of yourself as very, very elite, very special. No one can understand what I've gone through. You're thinking other people have never, ever had to walk in and possibly see something like that? And I can't even imagine that. Okay. But my point is to even be that disrespectful to people who have lost their children is craziness, because now it's about you again. You're trying to relate to a group you're not a part of. You did the exact opposite. They didn't pass away. We know that for a fact. So to sit there and constantly have to put yourself as an isolated single being is really, really interesting to me, because what is that? Why are you trying to prove a point that you are absolutely so special? That is the opposite of the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's the opposite. The first will be last and the last will be first. There's nothing about one of us that puts us above each other, right? I'm not more elite than you. That doesn't make sense. I'm not better than you. But she has to feel better about herself. It always reverses. Everything in this conversation is a big dome, half dome that all has a spotlight back to her. So she's the victim. She shouldn't be going through this. It's everybody else's fault, and everything in between. And you should feel bad for her. Oh. We're still trekking along here. Let's get it.
Jay's life. And then took her own life.
On accident.
And took her own life then? After?
She said correct.
So who chopped and burned her? And who duct taped JJ and put him in the ground? What I'm asking you. You're saying what? So you told me.
Sorry, you're just cutting out. I can't hear what your question is.
So you're telling me Tylee took JJ's life, then took her own life, and then someone cremated her by dismembering her and burning her and throwing her in a pet cemetery, and then somebody bound JJ, put him in a trash bag, and threw him in the backyard. And that was it. That was the end of it.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is I wasn't aware what happened to them after I left that.
So yeah, guys, this is what we were dealing with the whole time. Audio was horrible. Her phone, whatever she was on, her tablet, really horrible quality. Ton of screeching. There's a lot of edits I made off those because the phone would literally sound like someone screaming, or literally there was some screaming in the background, stuff like that. So it was horrible. But this is all tough, man. This is really, really tough. Thank you guys for being here. Walking through something this difficult publicly is not something I'd ever do in my life. But you guys being here really shows me that it's possible to share your thoughts and be vulnerable. And I don't know. I just appreciate you spending your night with me.
Scene.
Okay, so you gave it to someone else. You gave the responsibility to someone else, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Okay. And then.
I didn't. I just ran out.
Okay. So you're saying someone else took care of the situation.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said you.
It's breaking up.
I'm saying that you're saying to me that someone else took care of it. That's it. Then I don't have to go into more detail there. Somebody else took care of these things. So, so you.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
I'm telling you that their spirits were gone from their bodies.
Okay, pause right there. This is where the zombie thing was why I started here with her. Because the whole reason, their whole reasoning, and a little bit of what they basically, I guess, based their whole fake religion on was ideas that these zombies were part of their mission to take them out, right? So that's why it was ridiculous, because it's like, it's so ridiculous, bro. For her to say they're not in their bodies, she had that belief of them not being in their bodies supposedly before, because she believed in zombies, but she can lie about it all she wants. You call someone a Z, what are you calling them? A zebra? Stupid. All right, let's keep going before I start popping off too much. I love you guys.
At that time, they were gone. They were already in heaven. They were already gone.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So you're saying that they were gone, and why, if that's the case, then why wouldn't you just tell us? What was there secrecy for? Why didn't anybody know?
There's a lot of reasons. Colby and I've gone over that a million times, and
What
I
million
can tell you
times?
from the beginning, my thoughts then and my thoughts now obviously are different. I've had lots of therapy about it, to try to work through it myself. But at the time, I didn't want anyone to know what Tylee had done to JJ, and I wanted to continue to protect Tylee as her mother, who has been trying to protect her whole life. Like, this is my scenario, Colby. What if Tylee holding JJ down for too long, trying to get him to not scream and be loud in the apartment, which she was always upset about. We weren't in a big house anymore. We were in these tiny little apartments, and he was loud. And what if she held him down too long and realized afterwards what she had done? What if she had come running to me and told me what she had done, right? That it was an accident? Do you not think that I would have told police that I did it to save Tylee? Because you know that I would have.
Everything is a it, and it's not what I'm saying. It's not this, it's not that. It's it. You know this. You know the truth. You know me. You know what it is. Okay. No. I'm asking you to say it. I appreciate you saying that. That's the whole point, guys. I'm not going to lie. This conversation was so hard, but I'm glad it happened only because it just released me. I needed it in a sense. I needed to give her an opportunity. I never led her in a question. I never tried to get her to say anything that I wanted her to say. I really just asked the question. She danced around me a lot, right? And then on top of that, after those conversations, after these answers, after this conversation, interview, whatever you want to call this, it was an interview, but after what she said, it just took me like 2 days to kind of pull myself back up. And then after that, I realized slowly over time, and again, with your guys' comments and everybody who has kind of chimed in for it, right? Like Dr. John and Lauren, and just kind of really realizing how bad this is, how much mistreatment there is. It pulled me out of that emotional state that I was feeling, that kid in me that was really still there, and really let me fully realize. And now there's been serious healing in a very short amount of time. So I just wanted to put that out there, because it's so ridiculous, the whole thing. Though everything she's saying right now is so beyond ridiculous.
I would have done anything to protect Tylee. And in my mind at that time, and some people might think it's not rational, but I wasn't rational at that time, because you can't imagine what it's like to find your children in that way. You can't imagine. So no, I was not being rational. However, I was still protecting Tylee in my mind, and I still am. This is why I only wanted to tell you privately. I didn't want to tell the world what went on. I didn't want to tell the world that Tylee stopped taking her medication 2 weeks before this. She was on anti-anxiety medication, anti-depression medication. She was on a medication for panic attacks, and she was on birth control, so her ovarian cyst wouldn't be bad. She was on all that stuff. And when we moved up to Idaho, 2 weeks before, a week after we got there,
Exactly.
she said she didn't want to take her meds anymore. And I said, honey, you can't go off meds cold turkey. You can't just you have to wean off.
He's blaming her and gave her a fake backstory. I don't know if any of
Continually victim blaming that poor child. Lori, God Almighty. Well, no, we should say, because she's not really worshiping the Lord. She's over here in some other religious realm that we can't even fathom. I mean, I don't know how Colby is sitting there talking to us, telling us this, and not just bawling his eyes out. This is painful, very painful. He's having to admit that his mother is basically a sociopath who has no remorse for what she's done and does not care that he is playing this. I mean, this is live for everybody. Everybody can hear it. And she does not care what it does to him. She does not care. God, poor baby.
If those prescriptions are real, I'm not saying it's not possible, but if that is, then that's even more sad. That's even more messed up, because that just proves to me right there that she's literally saying all this stuff. She was taking all that stuff. Why was she taking all that stuff? Why? That's a lot. Why was she on antidepressants and anxiety medication and all of this stuff? And then she just said one day, frick this, I'm not taking it, right? Out of nowhere. Just went cold turkey. So she made a backstory. I'm not saying it's impressive. It's just crazy that you would spend the amount of time to give a backstory to that, you know?
Of them. And you know how she was, and you know how stubborn she was, and you know how she would do anything that I told her to do, and she would do the opposite. So no, I haven't wanted to tell everybody, and nobody could even understand how it could get to this point unless they understood what had happened to Tylee since she was 3 years old. So yes, I have been protecting Tylee.
All right, hold on. I just saw something I want to pull up.
Wow.
No. That never happened. I don't know what that. I've heard that. I've tried to address this before. That never happened. Tylee never tried to be emancipated. Tylee basically lived an adult life around 15 and 16, because she kind of had to be by herself in a lot of ways. Because now I can see what I didn't see before. And my mom was so hands off, and Tylee really had too much responsibility and was doing things that she should have never done. But she never was trying to be emancipated.
I agree with him.
And she never, I don't even know if Tylee really understood what that was. I'm sure she's very intelligent, so she probably knew what that was, but no, I don't think Tylee ever tried to do that, ever. So I just wanted to address that because I know I've seen that before. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you, Faith. I'm glad we can share this horrible thing together, because it is really hard. I'm just going to read you guys' chat for a second because I need a break. I need a break from her talking. Both. I think she knows she doesn't make any sense. Comment to make, though, 3 different times. And to end it off by saying, in my mind, yes, I'm protecting Tylee. So why?
I'm trying to move it ahead, see if we can get to the last little
Hi,
bit.
Kresha. I appreciate you being here. We love you. Appreciate you. Yeah, oh, sorry. I got rid of her comment.
Anything that was done.
Okay.
Right here, this face that I'm making, I was pretty much done. There was no argument.
Yeah,
to
you
be
can
had.
see it in his face. It's so sad.
There was no conversation to be had there. So, oh, here's a positive one. Shelby, do we have a baby yet? We are so close. So close. Yeah, if you guys don't know, Kelsey's due date is technically October 22nd. So we are on baby watch. So shout out to Kelsey. She's doing
That was
amazing.
so exciting.
She is trucking through the last couple of days of the pregnancy. And it is, can't imagine. That's a whole nother level of hard. So she's doing really great though. Thank you for saying that. We are close to having our baby. So there's a lot of good things happening at the same time. It's our first boy. We're really excited about that. That's good. It's nice to change the pace a little bit in this conversation. So thank you for that. All right. Let's see. Got some more chats. To the narcissist on that one. I'm not. It's really going to take a long time to process all this. word wasn't aware of, and we're just on.
Or let that happen. I would have, even if that's what happened, which I'm going to be honest with you, I hope you can understand, because I wanted to be respectful enough to listen to what you said. I've really tried to listen and study what you said, and based off of everything that I've just shown, that they were both murdered, and that's what you said didn't happen. So I think that we're not going to get anywhere there. I think that's just, I wanted to hear what you had to say, because you said you were there, and you said that those were your children, and those were my siblings. But I can't sit here and say that I agree with you at all. I don't think that's what happened. No, it's just not what I think happened based off of
When we all get
evidence.
to heaven, you'll know.
Okay.
That's
Right there, arrogant son of a gun. You're arrogant. You're really arrogant. And that's what hurts me. As a part of me really was like, what's the other side look like if you get there?
Into that phone call again, because I was so hurt, because it sounded like you were just giving me a middle finger, and you said F you.
I wasn't, honey.
Oh,
I
yes,
wanted to tell you.
Oh my gosh. Yes, you were. You were arrogant. You held your
Mhm.
head
100%.
high, and you legitimately were like, you weren't there. You don't know. Where were you when that happened? You were literally so arrogant in that call. And again, that's something I actually processed on this channel. You guys have seen it. It's one of my other videos. It's just not easy. Uh-oh. Kelsey's having lots of cramps, guys.
Oh, I think he has to cut it short.
Might be the time. Might be the time. Might be baby boy time. Yeah, it's
Really to the point of the things. I think that I've noticed you say you have a lot of these enemies, and
why don't we go through this? Why don't we do this? We're gonna go through this next question, her answer. And before it keeps going, we're gonna pause it here. We're gonna do a part 2. We'll keep processing this, and then we will go from there. But I really do, again, we'll say it all the time, appreciate you guys and love you guys for being a part of this. So let's get to this next question. We'll talk more. I'll read you guys' chats, and then I will set up another live stream for us to go through this.
that you have believed to be a very big usher into the second coming and Jesus and all these things. So I'm wondering, do you feel that you are this person who's lived multiple lives and is here to do?
Yeah, you know what, guys? Let's just do the live. Let's do a live birth. First one. YouTube's first one. Stream it. Go get in here. Let's go.
He's so cute.
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? That'd be a real interesting live.
Do this thing to usher in Jesus' coming? Is that what all of this hardship on your part is? Is that why you think you're going through so much hardship? Is that you are that person?
You will soon. We're going to talk about her at some point in depth. She deserves that. And
Second
me in the temple, and he put his hands on my head and ordained me to do something for him, like a job, right? And he said, will you do this job if you lose everything? This was in 2017.
Okay.
And then he said, will you do this job if you become like Job? That's what he asked me.
Yep.
And at the time, when he was right there with me, and you have those wonderful, heavenly, peaceful feelings, I thought, sure, I'll do anything you want me to. Go to the ends of the earth. I'll follow you to the ends of the earth like Peter. And then you walk into that scene and you're on the ground like Peter. Like, what is this about? What do you mean it was everything? I lost everyone, and including you, which was really the hardest loss of all to me, because you were my best friend for 24 years. And losing you over the past 4 years was harder on me than even losing the kids. But
for her to say that is ridiculous. How do you do that? Absolutely, Crusher. We talked about forgiveness before, and I came in.
Jesus gave me a job.
Okay.
Lucifer has done every single thing to get me to take my own life because that is his goal. If I leave here, I cannot do my job for Jesus, right? The only thing I have to do for Jesus is.
All right. So I started crying here. This I think one of the first times I cried because she was trying to tell me that the Savior, Jesus Christ, was basically gave her a job. And
Okay. We're going to cut that off right there because then he comes in and he says, okay, we're going to do a part 2. So what we'll do is sometime, maybe tomorrow afternoon or something, I'll try to bring in this part 2 so we can finish listening to this before the live trial starts on Monday for her 4th, for Brandon Boudreaux. I think it's fascinating to listen to Colby basically go through all these emotions and kind of trying to make sense of something that makes no sense at all. I mean, my heart goes out to him so much. He's so strong. He's came a long way. I wish we had the ability to talk to Harley Hunt as well, Letitia Stouch's daughter, because I think if she could talk about her situation, listening to all the things her mother said, all the same crazy, narcissistic, sociopathic, whatever they are, reasons for why she did what she did, you would find that a lot of it is kind of almost the same. I mean, it's kind of, which is weird. I mean, she did not do it for religion, where Lori's trying to say she did it for religion, but it all boils down to one thing. They're all, I'm not going to say mentally ill. They just all are sociopaths or psychopaths with narcissistic tendencies, and they have no remorse. They do not care. They do not know how to love if they only care about themselves. They all think they're going to be outsmarting the law and that they're going to get away with this and that life's going to move on and everything's normal, right? So just like Letitia, and now Lori's over there being the martyr. Oh, well, she's supposed to be in prison because she's going to be over there to help all these other people. I mean, that's just the next step of what God wanted her to do, right? That's how she makes all of this okay. That's how she lies to herself about it. I just never thought I would ever see such we've heard about cults before, right? We've seen a lot about cults. We know a lot about Charles Manson. We know a lot about a lot of these cults that have been around and are now gone but this is so, because nobody really saw it as a cult to begin with, but it really is. So Woman's Warrior says, can you imagine the damage done to the children, never getting their love and just driving for it their whole lives? It's sad. It is sad. These children are damaged. I think Chad Daybell's children are more damaged than Colby is. I really do believe that, because they lived with this Chad and all of his BS, and they're still living with it. Because it's from what I understand, and I don't have all the specifics about this, but from what I understand, Chad's little Church of the Firstborn is continuing over there. I don't know if it's one of his children. I don't know who is still leading this over there, but it's still continuing. So that you would think enough is enough. What the hell? I can't. It's so hard for me to actually get it out about how disturbing this whole situation has been. And again, I always go back to, why in the hell did nobody stop and bring somebody's attention to what was happening, knowing that this was going to happen? You don't sit around and cast out demons and talk about how to stop the body from having a new demon come in and think it's all a joke when you're talking about Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow, whatever. You can tell by talking to them, this was never a joke. I don't understand how those other participants, when they're seeing, somebody be shot at and all these different little things happening and all these people dying, and they don't say a word. They just don't say a word. And it just continues and continues. So anyway, so I've been on here 2.5 hours, which is a long time for me. But anyway, I just wanted to bring this up, and I just want to talk about this a little bit, and we'll go to the part 2 tomorrow and try and let him finish talking about it. Because again, you guys, he's going to be right there in that courtroom. He's going to be right there in that courtroom when the new trial starts. Watching his mother again go through. Oh my God, this poor child. This poor child. I'll be so glad when it's all over for him and his children, for his family, so he can try to find some kind of normal and not see his mother's name in the paper or in the news or whatever every time he turns around. So until it's over, this is how it's going to be for him. And it's so sad. It is so sad. But anyway, yeah, it's lucky some of them grow into adults, but we need to take a look at the ways to break these cycles, because it creates, in some cases, future. Yes, it does. You're absolutely right, Woman's War. You sure do. And yeah, a lot of them do live in fear. You're right about that. Okay, so let me bring this back up to you. Woman's Warrior is going to come on probably, let's do it on the 31st. She's going to come on with us, and we haven't picked the time yet, but she's going to come on and talk to us about her credentials and getting out of abuseful situations and dealing self-help and self-care and things like that. So, Women's Warrior, I'm going to email you here in a little bit, and you tell me what time you want to do it, so I can go ahead and put our, or apathy. I don't know how the other can see the. Yeah, you're right about that, Magic. You're right about that. And then we'll put our schedule out already for tomorrow and the 31st, so we can be ready for the trial to start next week. How does that sound, everybody? Sounds good, right? I'm very excited about it because I've been wanting to talk to Woman's Warrior for a long time about this, but I understand she lives in the UK and it's just hard, when you're so far away and you have children and all that kind of thing. So anyway, with this, I'm going to say goodbye. Have a good afternoon. Go back and listen to the beginning of this, and you'll hear about a few other things. But I really enjoyed you coming in and speaking with me. It's been so fun. And yes, I will get you fixed, okay? Yes, I will, Magister. I'll take care of that. That's wonderful. The 31st is good to her? Great. And Woman's Warrior, I'm in Central Standard Time in the USA, Central Standard Time. So, and I like to go about 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because I know a lot of people listen to this when they're driving later on in the afternoon or after they watch their other lives, because that's just when they have time to, because, I'm not really, yeah, that's right. That sounds great. That sounds great, Woman's Warrior. We'll do that. Yes. So anyway, I'm going to let y'all go, and thank you for coming in, and I'll catch y'all later. I'm sure I'll see you on our other channels that we go to in the afternoon or in the evening, because we all tend to go to the same things. And so if you find out anything or you want information or you want to talk about something else, just email me. Let me know. I'm always happy to. My son's home. The dog's going to bark. Bye, guys.